So today we're going to be jumping into a topic that is near and dear to me, at least, which is sphere of influence. That's what I got a couple DMs like, what does SOI stand for? And if you are not sure what SOI stands for,
it's not a curse word, right?
Chances are you do not have a sphere of influence that you're currently working. And your sphere of influence really is comprised of your database, whatever that might be. And, I learned a long time ago in this business that without working a database of the people that are closest to you, success is going to be one of these things that's going to be really hard to achieve. You really need to be working a database. You need to have a sphere of influence. But not only do you need to have one, okay? So if you don't have a database, you have to have one. Your database becomes your sphere of influence. And once you have your sphere of influence, if you're not working it, so if you just have it, that's one thing. But if you're not working it, that's a whole other thing, okay? I would say that my sphere of influence accounts for probably 50% of my annual business, okay? So just think about that. If I'm doing 45 million, or this past year I did just under 50, so 25 million of that is coming from my sphere of influence. The people that are closest to me, that know me, whether it's friends, family, colleagues of mine from prior jobs, and ex-classmates of mine, their parents. I put friends of mine's parents in my database all the time. That's when I first started it. Now, over time, as you build relationships with clients and you sell homes, you take buyers out, you meet with sellers, those individuals should also become part of your database and, segue into your sphere of influence that you're working on a regular basis. Now, there's a lot of rules with working your sphere of influence, which we're going to dive into a bunch of them. But communication and consistent contact with your sphere of influence is probably, to generalize, okay? That is key. You need to figure out ways to stay in front of your sphere of influence consistently, okay, and constantly. All right, so consistently, but also constantly.
Well, Chris, before you go any further, though, so number one, how are we getting that sphere?
Yeah.
And then once we get it, what are we doing to stay in front of it, right?
Yeah,
so I know how to do it, you know how to do it, but
right.
people that don't have it,
when I got into business, it was told to me that I should come up with 100 names, okay?
Yep.
Names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to get fancy and you want to put things like home anniversary date if you sell them a home, birthdays, wedding anniversary date, anything that you could use as a contact point, okay, a conversation piece, okay, you could put that information in the database along with the prospect or the individual's name and information.
Yeah.
Because again, the more information that you have and the more you contact these people, the more likely you're going to be to either get a sale through them direct or have them refer you to another prospective client where you could potentially build a relationship and ultimately generate a sale. That's what this is all about, right? We're here for what? We're here to sell homes.
Yeah, and guys, this isn't as hard as you think. These are people that you guys probably associate with on a daily basis that you just don't even realize. It could be your dentist, your doctor, your attorney, your accountant. All of these people you guys see on a regular basis. And I remember Chris and I used to do these networking things. He used to invite me to these dinners, and we used to have just get a bunch of guys, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's an attorney, an accountant, anybody from any field, we'd go out to dinner, we'd all network together. And then everybody is there to help everybody else out. Because those people have spheres of influence as well.
Right.
So
and those individuals, I don't refer to so you have your sphere of influence, which are, like I said, if you're new in the business or if you're existing in the business and you don't have an SOI and you're trying to put one together. Again, the advice that was given to me was come up with 100 names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses. That's how you get it started. And then you just build it from there. You're going to refine this list over time. Okay, so what seems like a great list today, or what seems like the list of individuals, what seems like a quality database today, you're going to refine this list over time. Okay, because things happen, right? Life-changing events. Okay, so people pass away, people get divorced and you might not communicate with one of the spouses any longer, something like that. And obviously, you're going to refine this. All right. I don't necessarily take people off the list if, let's say I have Bob Smith on my list, and Bob Smith's niece becomes an agent. Now, Bob Smith really doesn't want to use his niece as his agent, okay? But unfortunately, Bob Smith has no choice, because if Bob doesn't use his niece, his brother, the father of his niece, is not going to be happy with Bob. All right, so to avoid confrontation, he might use the niece all the time. But Bob is not going to refer his niece to anybody in his world, in his network. But he will refer me because he knows the caliber at which I operate. So I don't necessarily take Bob off my list, because Bob might still be really good. He might be a extremely high quality source of future referrals, okay? Even though he doesn't necessarily use me. And I do have a few people in my database that fit that criteria, that description to a T. All right.
Let me throw something else also. And by the way, can you guys hear me clearly? I just want to make sure that I'm coming in. All right, cool. Thank you so much. Awesome. When you guys put that list together, I think it's also really important to have like a little another category, let's say to the right of all the names, emails, addresses. You also want to categorize your sphere, let's say with, give them a grade, give them, letters, A, B, C, D. You also have A pluses. Chris, I'm sure you have people that are A pluses. So what an A plus is someone that would refer you business without you ever having to ask for them for a referral.
Sure.
So that's an A plus. Then you have your A's and B's and C's. If you have any D's on your list, that just stands for delete. So you just want to basically get rid of those people out of your database.
And if any of these people, that brings me to another topic though, it falls in place with that, but it's a little bit different. But when you do have somebody that let's say does reach out, or you get a lead of some kind, I categorize my leads. I don't know about you guys, but I categorize them into 3 categories: now, someday, never. My goal is to bring a never into a someday into a now, and a now to pull the trigger and buy something or sell something. Okay, that's the idea. So as far as people in your sphere of influence, your database, the idea, again, as Gene is saying, is to rate these individuals as far as the quality of them in their willingness or likelihood that they'll send you.
And the reason I bring that up is, we talk about so much in regards to marketing dollars and how much money we're spending every month on marketing, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to determine where your marketing dollars are going, right? So
of course, yeah.
if you have 100 people and you can identify 10 of those people as A+ clients, then you really should be moving, much more of your marketing dollars to those 10 people and figure out how to show those people that you really care about them and you really appreciate them.
Yeah. Anybody that's A+, that's like lunch meeting quality, okay? Meaning you should make it a point to meet that person in person at least once throughout the year, okay? Whether it's lunch, an early dinner, you want to go have a beer with them, whatever the case, cup of coffee, whatever suits you and that individual's personality. But someone that's A+, someone that you think would be likely to send you business without you even having to ask for it, that's definitely somebody that you want to keep close. Okay, that's somebody that you don't want wandering away and beginning a new relationship with someone else. It's kind of like dating, right? I mean, if you're dating someone that you really like, you want to keep it close. Okay, you don't want to not give them the time of day, because ultimately they're going to feel ignored. They're not going to feel important, and what's going to happen? They're going to wander off and find a better fit.
Most of my A+ influencers are past clients for me, right? I mean, listen, you do good by them, and a lot of these people, whatever business they're in, I have clients that constantly refer me because they've had a personal experience with me, right? So they love working with me. They know my work ethic. They know what I'm going to do. They're just going to refer me because they just love working with me. And those clients, I just went out to lunch with one last week, like Chris said. We went out, we had lunch, he touched base with me, happy holidays, whatever. We got together, and you just kind of shoot the shit with them. And
Yeah,
it's
but the important thing though also is if you're doing something for them, or if you're like you went out to lunch with them, you're not sitting there bringing up anything as far as like what's important for you or good for you. You're there.
Oh no, 100%.
They'll
bought
automatically.
This guy bought a house for me 7 years ago.
Right.
Right. And he gets a Christmas gift from me every year. He gets a Christmas card from me every year. Right. So I'm in touch with him all the time. Not that like we're best friends or whatever, but he enjoys my company. I enjoy his company. And we just like I said, we'll put something on the calendar. We'll get together, and 100%, if he knows someone that's buying a house, he's 100% going to refer.
Now,
or selling.
I agree 100%. Very, very important to stay in front of people, making them feel like the center of attention, making them feel like they're important, even if they're not the outgoing type. Maybe they're more introverted of a personality. That's okay. No matter what type of personality somebody has, everybody likes to feel important. Okay, so when you meet somebody in person, definitely think about some questions that you want to ask this person while you're with them, so there's no like dead air necessarily. But when you ask people questions about them and get them to talk, they in turn, it's like reverse psychology, they in turn think you're interesting.
Of course, yeah.
And you haven't said anything about yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? But the mere fact that you're asking them about them and having them talk, they could talk 80% of the time you're together. You might talk 20. They're going to leave that conversation being like, man, that guy Christian Giamenko, what an interesting guy. Meanwhile, like you didn't say anything about yourself.
Right.
It was all about them.
Right.
But it's just this like reverse psychology, and that's just the way people operate. And diving into the whole idea of sphere of influence. Now, your sphere of influence, I want you to think about it like it's this giant, sphere, right? This giant network that you have. But then you have like your inner circle, okay? And you want to maybe refer to that as like your circle of influence, like your inner circle.
Is that like
and
your
that's where you're going to have
your
like
circle of trust?
That's where you're going to have your circle of trust. That's where you're going to have your centers of influence.
The movie was great.
You
Okay.
were here, now you're here.
You're going to have your centers of influence. A center of influence, by definition, as far as what it means to me, is way more powerful than somebody that just happens to be in my sphere of influence. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
your sphere, think big. Your center, think nucleus, think small, okay? And that center of influence, all right, your CIs, as I like to call them, okay, that's going to be comprised of all A+ individuals. Now, another area that I've tapped into over the years is that I've aligned myself with other like-minded professionals that deal with a high volume of people during life-changing events. So, think about when people typically would buy and sell a home, okay? Marriage, divorce, that's a big one. Birth, death, job relocation, job change, job loss, retirement, okay? All of these things are life-changing events. This is where people are most likely to buy or sell a home, okay? And you really can't time those things, okay? If you're trying to have a baby and all of a sudden your wife or whoever is expecting and you're like, oh man, that was a surprise. We weren't expecting that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my good. We're having a boy, and you already have 2 girls and you only have a 3-bedroom house. Well, it's like, we need a new house because we need an extra bedroom. This isn't going to work for us. You really can't time something like that. Somebody passes away. You can't really time that. I mean,
I think
people
like
pass
you
away,
always,
they pass away.
we always talk about being prepared and being, up to date on the market and its conditions, right? So yesterday I had a doctor's appointment. I'm in there. I'm talking to the doctor, and she says to me, she's like, "So how's business?" She knows I'm in real estate. She's like, "So how's business?" Now I subconsciously look at this. This is like almost like she's like, it's like an interview process, right? I don't know if she's looking to buy or sell. I don't know, but whatever. But we started talking, and I let her lead me into some more questions. I said, "Oh, it's great." I said, "It's changing every day, blah blah blah." And then she starts getting a little deeper, right? So then I start throwing some stats at her and some statistics and what my vision is or whatever. And she's like, oh, it's pretty interesting. Whether something comes of that or not, I have no idea. But I definitely left her knowing that I know what I'm talking about, right? And so I feel like anytime you meet a professional or meet somebody, this is why you have to be, or you could just be out to dinner with friends and someone's asking you. It's like, treat every conversation that when somebody approaches you about real estate as like an interview, right? Because they're going to walk away from that conversation saying, wow, I just talked to Chris Walsh. He definitely knows his stuff. Like, and then maybe your name comes up with somebody else. Well, listen, I met this guy the other night at a party. He seemed to know his stuff, right? So you can never just say, yeah, it's good. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, it's really important how you approach that question, right? Because we get asked all the time, hey.
Exactly.
Because they know you're in the business. You guys are always going to get asked, how's the market? So here's what you don't want to start doing. You don't want to start vomiting on them with everything real estate, and you don't want to start throwing everything at them. Because we always talk about, right, you want to maintain the conversation. You want to maintain control of the conversation, right? 100%. So you want to lead them to continue talking. So when they ask you a question, you come back and you ask them a question. So when they say to Christian, hey, how's the market? Christian is not going to answer to them how the market is. Christian is going to say to them, well, that all depends. Are you looking to buy? Are you looking to sell?
Course,
are you looking to rent? Are you an investor?
Yeah.
So it's always about asking questions and continuing the conversation. And again, we always talk about listening, right? Twice as much as we're talking. So you want to ask them questions, get them talking, and get more information, out of them. Then you can help them with what they're looking for. But you want to know, if they say to you, how's the market? You have no idea what they're looking to do.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Let me just wrap up with the whole concept of centers of influence. The idea of centers of influence is super important because and when I say that, I get a lot of questions like, who exactly are you referring to when you say, center of influence, circle of influence? A center of influence, again, is somebody that deals with people in a high volume during life-changing events, such as a matrimonial attorney, a financial advisor, a CPA. These are all people that typically get contacted before a realtor is contacted during, let's say, divorce or job relocation or retirement. Someone's going to retire. What do you think they're going to do before they contact a realtor? They're going to contact a financial advisor, okay? That financial advisor is going to sit down with them and do an overview. They're going to do a financial needs analysis for this individual that is looking to venture into the retirement phase of their life. So they're going to go through a whole breakdown of what this person has, what they need, and then what they need to do. What's their action plan, okay, to make this retirement happen? Now, one of the things that they're going to need to know are the value of their home or the values of their home and any other properties that they may own. So if you are on the radar of, let's say, a financial advisor, a CPA, a matrimonial attorney, or divorce mediator or something like that. Mediators, by the way, are better than matrimonial attorneys because husband and wife typically sit down with a mediator. They're arguing with the divorce. That's typically the way it plays out.
Chain of events, yeah.
Husband has his realtor, wife has her realtor, but they can't agree on who to use. And that's when the mediator will step in and say, hey, guys, I have somebody. I have someone who's amazing, is great realtor. Why don't I set you guys up with him? It's a neutral party. And 9 times out of 10, they'll agree to it because they can't agree to anything else. And, typically when they're in the mediation process, the idea is let's just get this done and over with. Okay, so typically if you're the person that comes up, they'll usually agree. If that's the case, you'll get named into the actual divorce settlement because they want to know all the details. It becomes a court-ordered document. I'm telling you, if you guys are able to get, let's say, CPAs or forensic accountants, matrimonial attorneys, mediators, that kind of thing, that is how you could build a super, super strong center of influence and have that be part of your sphere. And would you rather stay in touch with 4 professionals that are going to be good for, let's say, 5 to 10 referrals each year each? Or would you rather chase those individuals? I don't think so. I think you'd rather deal with the professionals that are going to put you in touch with a higher volume of potential candidates for you to
Let
buy
me
and sell
let me
to.
let me also just throw in a crazy statistic that is just really mind-boggling. So, the National Association of Realtors, they did a study where they polled, a bunch of homeowners that purchased homes, let's say in the last 3, 5, 7 years, and they were asked, if you were to, buy another home or sell your home, would you use the same agent?
Right.
Okay.
I've seen that before.
They said, well, yeah, we absolutely would use the same agent if we can remember their name and number.
It's crazy.
That's insane, right?
Yeah.
So what that means is that a lot of agents, we talk about the 90-10 rule, the 95-5 rule. Well, those 90% and the 95% are doing a horrible job in staying in touch with their clients.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have systems in place,
Yeah.
then you cannot stay in touch with your
Well, let me
clients.
ask you guys a question. Outside of clients,
Yeah.
right? That's the easiest people, right? How does somebody that's new in real estate, been doing this, maybe only has 1 or 2 deals, how does somebody start getting their sphere of influence?
Well,
Like, what do you do?
they gotta know some
obviously,
people.
Yeah, of course. But you go to the doctor, you go to the dentist, you talk to your CPA. Are you now? I know how to, I'm just speaking on behalf of these people.
And that's
So
a great question
how does
because
somebody go
we
about
have a
doing
lot
it?
of new people, right?
Right,
That
yeah.
might be in the business for a month or 6 months or a year.
I'm telling you, it's 100 names and addresses. And if you can't come up with 100 names of it,
No, but
names
what are you
and
doing
addresses,
with that, right? So let's say you have your CPA, right? Is this person, say, sending them some information on themselves? Are they having a conversation? Like, how
Okay.
are they
So
really going about doing it?
What I
That's
would
I'm
do
saying.
is, without telling them or warning them or
Right.
being like, hey, I'm going to add you to my
Right,
database.
right.
Don't say anything. Just start doing it. Don't tell people what you're doing necessarily. Just do it. Take action. People will notice, okay? Sometimes being subtle is better. You kind of like creep in, right?
Yeah.
But my rule of thumb is 28 times a year. I want to stay in front of these people. What am I sending them? I do a monthly newsletter direct to their address.
So that's 12.
So through the United States Postal Service. Then I do 12 emails annually.
That's 24.
That's 24. Then I do a holiday card, business. I also send them a personal holiday card, like my family's holiday card.
So back up. So the previous holiday card, are you having a service do this?
Yes.
Okay.
The business holiday card I have a service to. The personal holiday cards, myself and my assistant send them out right around the holidays. Then I also send them out a calendar with a letter, just, greeting them for the new year, happy holidays. We're embarking on a new year. I hope to hear from you if you have any questions, this,
Right.
that, whatever. I always present myself as being the market authority, if that makes sense. I try to present myself as the authority, like I'm the ultimate source for knowledge and opportunity. So if somebody has an opportunity, I'm the guy you should be calling because I'm the area specialist, I'm the market expert, and there's nobody else better suited to handle your situation than who? Me,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's the way we all should be presenting ourselves.
And guys, make
we're
sure,
the man,
like-
we're the woman.
Yeah, when you're sending this stuff out, it's just like the marketing that we talk about all the time. Like Chris and I will do 10,000 postcards a month, right?
And then I do another letter, by the way, so that makes 28.
Yeah, but we try
do a
to
letter halfway through the
keep
year.
things a little bit different. You got to be able to stand out. We're not the only people sending the accountant, the divorce attorney, a postcard or an email. So
True, but I
make
will tell
sure
you there's
that
a lot
everything-
less people than you probably think.
Yeah,
But
you're
saying
probably right.
you're saying you got to mix it up by making it a little more personal.
No, well, no, I'm just saying, just make sure everything you do is quality, right? Like,
Oh,
make
that's-
sure
well, that goes
that
without a-
email
yeah, that's
is
definite.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, again, this is a subconscious interview process, right? When this guy is opening your email or opening your card or opening whatever you're sending them, they're looking at this like, how this guy's professional. Like,
You
know
guys,
what I mean?
you guys
It's-
ever notice that us realtors, real estate agents as a whole, we are what you would consider an originator, okay?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
originate the transaction from the marketing that we're doing, right? Or the relationships that we're building through networking, however you're doing it, whether it's paid marketing or organic networking and, just interaction, right? It's a contact sport. As you're building these relationships, if you're really looking to get on the radar of a like-minded professional, you really want to reach out and try to meet this professional in person, okay? Whether it's a cup of coffee or lunch, don't do dinner, don't do drinks, just coffee or lunch is the way to go. Once you meet them, next time, if you want to go grab drinks or whatever, that's your call. But you would be surprised how few people that are in our situation are reaching out to these other professionals in these other spaces.
I don't think they are.
Everybody seems to reach out to us, whether it's home inspectors, title companies, insurance companies, CPAs, financial advisors. I've had all of these people reach out to me because they look at me like I'm the originator of the business, right? So that the person's coming to me first. Mm-hmm. But the reality is they're not actually coming to me first. Sometimes they do. But a lot of times, by the time they come to me, they've already spoken to their accountant or financial advisor, or if it's a divorce situation, they've spoken to their divorce attorney, okay? So again, getting on the radar of professionals such as those three is super ideal if you're trying to build a very tight center of influence where you're gonna have, my brother refers to them as brand ambassadors, or I've heard the term zombie spokespeople. Like, you want to have salespeople out there, speaking your name. You want to have people that are saying, real estate, Kristen Giamenko, real estate, Gene Kratansky, real estate, Chris Walsh, right? So if you get in front of them and you nurture the relationship the proper way, okay, you're always going to be top of mind. And I'm telling you, with these divorce attorneys, these deals are not easy because the people are insane at this point. They've been beating each other up for months, if not years, in the divorce process. They're beat up, they're tired, they're broke. They just want to get the process done and over with, okay? So if you're able to come in and pull the deal off, and by the way, a lot of times in divorces, husband and wife do run out of money. So the attorneys are getting paid once the house gets sold because they're typically getting paid out of the equity and proceeds of the home. Okay, so you're gonna come in and you're gonna get the house sold and you're gonna save the day. You do that one time, I guarantee you there's 10 more deals behind that.
Yeah.
Well, let's also look at the importance of, okay, so that's somebody that's actually referring you, right?
Yes.
Now let's talk about referring somebody, right? So you have to make sure if you're going to refer a divorce attorney, an accountant, whoever it is, I don't care who it is, that you know this person or you know
and
their
you've
practices,
already had that
because-
sit down with that person.
Yeah, because that could have the opposite effect, right? So if I'm referring somebody to an accountant that I've never used, and I just know a client, and I say, listen, you know what, or a friend or whatever, I want to be able to make sure that accountant has been verified and by me, right? Because the last thing you want to do is give a bad referral, right? And then, let's just say it's my accountant. I have a good relationship with him. I know I've referred 2 people to him in the past month. I know now that, and I made sure, I got a text message from my accountant yesterday. Hey, Christian, thanks. Jim Smith is coming in to see me next week. I appreciate the referral. No question, my accountant's going to give me a deal, right? Because he knows I referred him, right?
And by the
so
way,
you have to make sure that you're putting your name out there.
100%.
And,
And that day that my client meets with that divorce attorney or my client meets with that accountant, I actually go to that accountant's office. I meet my client there. I walk them inside. I see the accountant. I shake his hand. Hey, what's going on, Bill? The accountant, blah, blah, blah. This is my client, Michael, Jones, yada, yada, yada. All right, but then you guys go do your thing. I'll see you later. Just wanted to make the introduction, and then I bounce.
I mean,
and that's it.
That's way
But
more.
I'm telling you,
that's way more powerful than a
goes
than a text intro.
So far.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So far.
That was actually a question in our chat that John put in. It's like I think he said you want to get your CPA to give you referrals, right? So what's your approach, right? So that is the approach.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
I don't think most people are going to do that, but that's a great
So
approach.
my approach when I'm trying to lock up a business professional, I don't offer them anything in return except the value add that I'm bringing to the table by them being able to refer me to prospective clients, like a financial advisor, for instance. A new prospect comes in, okay, to meet with this financial advisor. They haven't agreed to work with Mr. Financial Advisor just yet, but they're coming in and they're going to do that same financial needs analysis at the very beginning because they have to give a lot of information over to the CFP, Certified Financial Planner. in order for that CFP to be able to give them a proper assessment. So when it comes time for the home evaluation, they're going to say, hey, you own a home, 5 Main Street. Okay, great. What's 5 Main Street worth? The prospect is going to say, well, I'm thinking maybe like 450, maybe 550. I'm not really sure. My neighbor just sold for 5.25. I have a very similar home, so maybe somewhere like in the middle of 450 and 550. Let's just say 500. That is the perfect time for the CFP to throw the value add out there, which is, hey, you know what? I'll tell you what. I actually have a whole plethora of resources behind me, one of which is one of the best real estate agents in the area. Notice I didn't say top or number one or whatever. I have one of the best real estate agents in the area. Why don't I set up a time that's convenient for you, Mr. Homeowner, where I could send this real estate agent out to your house, just do a quick 5-10 minute walkthrough, run through, and then they can report back to me what they think exactly your home is worth. Does that sound like something that you'd be interested in having? They're going to say yes, okay?
Yeah.
Now that's a chance for you to then go to the house. You're gonna meet with Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, okay? You're gonna now get on their radar, try to drum up some conversation, build rapport, FORD, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. That's how you build rapport. You build rapport with these individuals, okay? And
Chris,
now
Chris,
they become part.
back up on that one again.
They
just
become
because
part of your sphere of influence.
We might have some new people that just joined us, so just go a little slower on the FORD. You want to repeat that?
FORD, Ford. That's an acronym that we use over here to build rapport. If you're wondering, well, how do I talk to these people? What do I talk about? Keep it limited to those 4 subjects. Family. Who's your family? What's your family dynamic? You have 2 little girls? Oh, wow, I have 2 little girls. Common connection, You have 2 little boys? Well, I have 2 little girls. Common connection. It's like just extract whatever you can and relate it, connect it to what you're doing, okay? Or something that you have an experience with. Again, the more commonality that you have, the more you connect with an individual, the more likely you're going to be to build a bond and a relationship that'll carry into the future. And again, the idea here is referrals and future business opportunities.
And people do business with who?
People do business with
people that they trust.
That they like, trust.
Yeah,
right.
of course.
People buy based on what they see, what they hear, and what they believe.
What they believe.
But let's face it too.
So be honest.
Let's not kid ourselves, right? Everything's got to be reciprocated, right? So your accountant, your attorney, whoever it is, can refer you all the business they want. But if you're not reciprocating and referring them, it's going to fizzle out. It is what it is.
I will tell you that one of my divorce attorneys that I've done the most work with, again, a lot of people that come to me about real estate, even if they're getting divorced, they're already lawyered up by the time they get to the realtor. Unfortunately, that's just the way it works. Unless I really know the person extremely well, okay, then maybe I know about their divorce prior to them going to an attorney. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, it's rare that somebody calls me for a recommendation on a divorce attorney. I don't know if it's the level of shame or embarrassment or whatever about a failed marriage that maybe they just, I don't know, but once I think they get along in the process with the attorney and this and that, then they realize hey, it's really not a big deal. I mean, 60% of the population gets divorced, right? And at that point, they're okay with contacting a realtor, but they've already retained an attorney. Okay, so it's not the easiest thing in the world to recommend a divorce attorney. And I can tell you, up until I've been working with this one attorney for easily 11, 12 years. I think it wasn't until maybe 3 years ago that I sent them the first deal that
some of those guys, though, they don't necessarily need the recommendation from you, right? Or need you to reciprocate because they just want it. Their biggest picture is this divorce. And they know that you're a big part of handling this and helping this go through. Right. So they want to make sure they're handing it to someone that's professional, right? I'm talking about the person. I got a phone call last week from a painter that I do a lot of business with. He's done business in my house and all that. And he called me. He's like, listen, I just want to give you a heads up. I was in Spring Lake yesterday and I got called in to paint this whole entire house. Was talking to the people, whatever. And they told me, we're thinking about selling. And so we just want to get some things tightened up or whatever. He's like, do you have a real estate agent? He's like, listen, I do business with a great guy. I'll give you his name and number and feel free to contact him. That's it, right? Because I give this guy business when I have a client that needs it.
Sure.
So he's automatically thinking about me. This house isn't on the market yet, so I'm going to reach out to them, send them an email, whatever, or they'll call me. But my point is that the reason why he thought of me is because I think of him when my clients
Sure.
need something. So
Yeah.
you have to be mindful of that as well. You have to be able to
And
refer
that's-
people that you trust. And you know,
Let me throw something also. You know, a lot of times, I don't know who still like leaves business cards at places that you patronize, whether it's a bagel store or a dry cleaners. You know, you go into these places and you always see business cards laying around. But
Yeah.
sometimes you'll walk in. I mean, you're not going to just leave it. You want to ask them for permission. And one of my agents actually asked me. You know, I went to this bagel store that I go to all the time. Like I've been going there for years, and I asked if I can leave my cards there, and they were like, you know, we don't allow any business cards here. So I just said to the agent, then go find a new bagel store. You know, go find a place where you can leave your cards. But the point is, if you're going to places, whether it's dry cleaners, bagel stores, a Chinese
I was just gonna
restaurant,
say the dry cleaner, man. I don't know why, but my dry cleaner, like,
Dude, I remember going into it's a funny story, right? I first met Chris, and this was
At the dry cleaners?
It's like 2015. Like we knew each other, but whatever. And yeah, so I go into the dry cleaner. I'm going in there all the time. And after I met Chris, I'd go in there and I'd see his picture on the wall. I'm like, what the hell is this picture? And it was a personal Christmas
did
card.
it say
Him and
don't
his-
let this guy in?
Yeah, and I'm like, so I said to the guy behind the counter, you know, Asian guy, really cool guy. I'm like, you know him? He's like, oh yeah, I know Chris. I know Chris. Yeah, you know Chris? You know, he starts talking to me for like a half hour.
Chris is
So I
famous.
called up Walsh. I'm like, dude, how do you know this guy? He's like, oh, dude, I go in there. That's why I get all my stuff done. It was just so funny. But his
Yeah.
picture was on the wall. It was like stood out for a
I
minute.
sent
It was
him,
like
I
this
sent him,
big,
a,
man.
I
It
sent him
was
a
huge.
personal holiday card, and they put it on
Oh
the
my
wall.
God, dude. It was so-
Well, I mean
so-
that's really going outside the box. I'm
Yeah.
talking about, you know, coming in with your little case for your business
I know.
cards. Chris has
Listen,
a 8x10 on the wall.
You really to build a quality sphere of influence and to ultimately have a center of influence that's, you know, jam packed with referral sources. You need to build relationships with these people. Okay, consistency. I go to the same dry cleaner all the time. I've been doing it for the past 10 years, and they have sent me business because I don't know what it is about the dry cleaner, but whenever I'm in there and I see other people come in there, they also use the same people over and over, and they build relationships with these business owners, these small business
Yep.
owners. And when they come in, it's, you know, it's small talk, right? So same thing with like your doctor, right? Same thing with like dentist. I mean, all of these people.
Yeah.
I mean, hair stylist or barber, whoever.
It's endless. It's endless.
I mean,
right?
exactly. The list goes on and on and on. But the more relationships you build, okay, the more successful you're going to be. Listen, I did not grow up with a network of, you know, any substance really. I didn't grow up with a family that had, you know, connections of any kind. My network was completely built from the ground up, organically, through relationships, attending events, asking people out to lunch, asking people to grab a cup of coffee, that kind of thing. And, you know, you meet one person as well, you know, the tentacles sort of just start to spread, right? It's like a spider web, I guess you could say. So you meet one person, that person might introduce you to 3 people. Those 3 people might each introduce you to 2 or 3 people, you know, and it just grows exponentially. But it all starts with you building that center and that sphere. But you have to work it 28 times a year. That is my golden rule, okay? And anybody that fits that A plus quality, you really need to get in front of them at least once a year for lunch or something like that, okay? At the end of the year, I also thank anybody in my entire sphere that either sent me business, whether it came to fruition or not. I'm still acknowledging and sending them business. And anybody that actually used me during that year, they also get acknowledged. And the way that I do this is my database I simply keep on an Excel spreadsheet. Some people might say I'm old school, I don't know. But I use an Excel spreadsheet because that thing is getting updated constantly, and I like to just have the one line, you know? And listen, I've met some mega producers from around the world, and that's how they manage and track their database.
It's
simply
whatever
Excel.
is easiest for you. That's it.
You
Yeah,
know,
it
some
doesn't
people
matter
like
how,
to use
right?
fancy CRM systems. CRM systems, I'm not downplaying them because CRM systems are very, very powerful tools. CRM systems are going to have things like drip mail campaigns, depending on the type of prospect that you have. So remember before, I said that I categorize my prospects, not the people in my sphere, because the people in your sphere are just people that exist. But if somebody segues into the prospect category where they are looking to sell, buy, invest, whatever the case, they become a prospect at that point, and then I rate that prospect. Again, now, someday, never, okay? But again, the goal is always to shift that down. So I turn a never into a someday into a now, and I try to get the now to pull the trigger. One tip I could give you guys as far as trying to get somebody to pull the trigger, get them pre-approved, okay? There's a lot of potential buyers that are out there, especially right now, with rates fluctuating and things like that. Get them an up-to-date pre-approval, because maybe they got pre-approved a year and a half ago and never did anything. They know they're eligible to buy, but they haven't been pre-approved anytime recent. If you get somebody pre-approved, especially, I'm not even gonna say especially a first-time home buyer, but younger people are more prone to do this, I would say. But if you get someone pre-approved, think about like when you came out of college or high school and you start getting credit card offers. This is how 90% of young people get into massive debt that spirals out of control, because they were given a credit card with a $5,000 limit, more money than they've ever had access to in their entire life. And you know what? It's just the human mind where we go with that is like, oh man, I'm gonna go use it. I'm gonna go use this credit card.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go buy something, right? It's just that empowerment of like, wow, I have a credit card, right? A mortgage pre-approval is a credit card to buy a house. Okay, so if you have someone who's sort of on the fence, they don't really know if they're gonna be buying now or maybe 6 months or 12 months, or let's say they do tell you 12 months. They're not a now, they're a someday. But I guarantee you, a majority of the time, if you put a pre-approval in front of them that they then fold up and put in their pocket or whatever the case, right? It's like you giving them a credit card to buy a house. You're going to shorten, the majority of the time, you're going to shorten the lead time on that from 12 months to maybe 3 months or 6 months. Because I'm telling you, the majority of the time I put a pre-approval in front of somebody and they're calling me before I know it, okay? So these are just some tips to try and get people off the fence.
So-
because maybe they think that the rate that they're gonna get is 7.5, and then you get them pre-approved through, a reputable lender, and the rate is actually 5.875, and they're like, whoa, that's a lot less than I thought it was gonna be. You know what? Yeah, let's go buy a house right now. So you wanna shorten the lead time? That's one way to do it.
So, two other things we want to touch on. We're talking about monetizing our sphere of influence, and we talk about staying in touch. We talk about that's really the key, is staying in touch with your sphere. And again, breaking it out, separating it from your A's, your B's, your C's. That's going to determine where you're spending more of your time, where you're making more of your calls, where you're diverting more of your marketing dollars and things like that. But you got to make those calls, right? So Chris made a point.
So easy.
Yeah, Chris made a point about staying in touch. 28 touch points or 30 touch points. Those are all great, but those are coming through email or coming through the mail. What your clients really need is they need to actually hear from you, where you actually have to pick up the phone and reach out to them and give them a call.
I'm going to give you guys another
minimum.
tip.
Yeah, minimum twice a year just to check in. More importantly,
it's gotta be more than that.
yeah, but I'm saying minimum.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
a lot of people aren't even making one call a year, right? But
No.
but here's the easiest call you can make. As soon as they close, you want to make at least 2 calls, maybe 3 to 5 or 7 days after they move in. Check on them, see how the movement, how the move went.
Yeah.
They're, how are they, they still, swamped with boxes.
The other day I met for lunch. He's
Yeah.
like, we were just, BSing about a bunch of stuff. And he said to me, he's like, do you have a tile guy, good tile guy? I said, yeah, of course I do. He's like, I knew you would. So I refer him a tile guy, and he sent me a text this morning, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, Jose was at my house today." He's like, "Awesome guy, thanks again, you're the best."
Well, that was going to be my second thing that I was going to say. When you're reaching out to them,
Right.
so the first call is, how did the move go? How's everything going?
Yeah, yeah.
But the second call could be a week or 2 weeks later. So now that's already 2 calls after they moved, right? So the second call is simply, by the way, I know you guys just moved in. You got a lot going on. Just remember, use me as a resource for whatever you need. I have a list, right, of professionals that you can
I have clients
whatever
that
you
have
need.
closed deals, they call me all the time.
Plumbers,
Closed 3 years ago,
electricians,
yeah,
you know, anything that you need or recommendations for the home, use me as a resource. I mean, you're letting them know to also stay in touch with you if they need something. So they're going to reach out to you. But
Yep, 100%.
and then again, throughout the year, just reach out. Even if it's, listen, I've made calls to, you know, clients that I've sold homes to, you know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's just simply, hey, you know what? I was just driving through your neighborhood and I thought about you, but I wasn't in their neighborhood. So the point is, I was just driving through your
I
neighborhood.
just said, be honest.
Sorry. But I was thinking about them. So I said, I was just driving through the neighborhood. I thought about you. I just wanted to give you a call, see how you're doing. I hope all is well. Those calls have nothing to do with you asking for any kind of business. It's just simply, hey, I'm just checking in. Hope all is well. Nice to hear from you. You know, let's stay in touch.
I think it was Brian. Are you still on? Are you on this call? Is Brian on here? Brian Walsh?
Yeah, he's on, I think.
He told me about a website, and I looked into it. I thought it was awesome. I even think I told you about it. I forget the name of it, but it automatically keeps in touch, like, you know, with your clients. You could
It's not
set it
Follow Up
up.
Boss, is it?
No.
This is like it's like a service where it can send out a gift. It sends out a card
Gotcha.
every year. So you can buy different packages, right? And every year on their house anniversary, their first year house anniversary, it's going to send them a little gift from you. It could be a coffee mug. It could be whatever you set it up, whatever price point you want.
Right.
And it'll send them a gift on that.
Oh, is
or
it
just on their birthday.
Is it a Client Giant?
Client Giant, that's it. Exactly. Did you tell me about that?
Yeah.
Somebody told me about it. It's really cool, though. I mean...
Sorry, Brian, it was me.
Yeah, sorry, Brian.
Now-
but it's really cool. You guys should check it out. It's called
Guys,
Client Giant.
if you're wondering also where to get or where you can receive or get whatever view market data, market information, because I know that, you know, somebody might be wondering, well, all right, I'm going to reach out to these people. What if they question me on the market? Like, where can I pull stats from so I sound really smart?
Yeah,
so
this is a
I
good
can
one.
make an impact when I'm on
Ask
the
Oscar.
phone. Altos report, Altos Research, which produces the Altos report, in my opinion, is probably the best $50 a month you could spend, okay? If you're looking to have that information in front of you with a couple, you know, keystrokes and mouse clicks, okay? So I use the Altos report. You can put in any zip code that you want, okay? So if I'm contacting a client and they live in Montgomery Township, I'm putting in the Montgomery zip code. I'm gonna get the report for January, Montgomery, year to date, going back 12 months, and then this month, it's gonna give me all the market information that I need. Stats, days on market, average sale price, whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. It shows a gauge with a needle, and it'll show you like where the market is. And then it gives you a 2 to 3 paragraph breakdown of the market. It's not very wordy, it's very straightforward, very simple, and it's gonna give you the nuts and bolts of the market snapshot, so to speak, at that given time. And that's a great conversation piece, not only for when you're making calls, but just think about like when you're out and about, you're in line at the grocery store and you run into someone that you kind of know, maybe you don't. But if you're doing a lot of marketing in that area, and again, it depends what level you're at as far as production goes. I know that like when I might be out and about in my market, and I've had people be like, oh, dude, you're the real estate guy. Like, they don't even remember my name necessarily, but they know I'm the real estate guy.
No, they saw your picture at the dry
And they're
cleaners.
like, oh, you're in my mailbox every other week. You know, I feel like I know you already.
Right.
But even if they don't, though, I mean, if you drum up conversation with someone and you're able, people love statistics.
They love real estate, too.
And they love real estate.
I mean,
Real estate's like
everybody.
talking about sports and the weather,
Yeah.
okay? Same kind of thing, okay? But people love statistics, okay? You gotta have substance when you're speaking to people.
No,
all
that's
right?
huge.
And one way to get that substance is to have a reliable source of market data, okay, to validate yourself. And that's the key word there. You need to be able to validate yourself. If you're calling yourself the market expert and the area specialist, but you don't know anything about the market, well, then you're obviously not the expert, okay?
100%.
So a simple way to be the expert is $50 a month, or split it with a friend. It's $25 a month.
I was just about to say, you guys
know what I
can
mean? Like,
go in together
there's
and
ways to go. Team up with 2 or 3 people and split the cost, 2 or 3 ways.
maybe
But
we can get
I'm telling
10
you, Altus
people,
report
$5
is-
each. Right?
Altus report is
That is
badass.
awesome.
And another one you guys could look into is Keeping Current Matters. That's KCM. That's another one that has also really good data. They've been around a long, long time.
And then as far as newsletter services, I just switched services because the service I used for 18 years went out of business.
You
Is
put
that that thing that used to send me in the mail that I would get in the mail all the time?
wait. There's
It
one
worked,
more.
man. You became my partner.
That's pretty funny. That's how he hooked Christian. Wait, there is one more really important thing before you guys go. Don't hang up yet. But before we end with our last thing, I want to just give a quick 30 seconds to Deanna Brown. Deanna, when's your next training happening? Is it tomorrow?
Yep, we have tomorrow at 10 a.m. We're going to talk about building, kind of expanding on what you did today with SOI. We're going to talk about building your referral network. So we're going to take it a little bit further and give you some very specific strategies for how you can expand on referrals and continue to build wealth.
Awesome. And everybody hang with us 2-3 more minutes. Deanna, also, if you could just drop into the chat the link so people can get on with your training tomorrow. Also, 2 quick reminders. Last week, if you guys weren't here, we mentioned we are going to have Glenn Sanford, who is the owner and CEO of EXP. He's going to be coming on our show on February 14th. So make sure that you're
That's
here.
going to be good, man.
Yeah.
That's going to be a huge
incredible.
one. We're very excited for that one. And also just a quick reminder about our iPad giveaway that's still happening. So all you have to do is go and like our Instagram page, Join Leaders Edge, hit the like button, leave a comment, and make sure that you're here with us on January 31st, which we are having another special guest joining us on January 31st. I don't want to announce it yet. Well, no. I need to confirm it today 100%. So, but he will be an awesome guest. Some amazing branding and marketing
Yeah,
behind
guy's
this
taking
guy.
off on social media. He's doing a lot of really cool stuff. He's getting really creative with his video content. He's definitely not what you would expect from a real estate agent.
No.
So it's pretty interesting to see his approach and see how he's positioning himself out there in the marketplace that he's in, which I think he's on the West Coast.
He's
right?
in Arizona,
Arizona.
but I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say who, what yet. But I should.
It's going to be good.
Yeah,
Just
we
tune
should
in
be.
next
I should be
week. You guys won't
confirming him.
disappointed.
I think by today. But just
Is that
mark
next week?
Yeah, mark your calendars. Make sure that you're here January 31st. Make sure that you're here. It's Lindy's birthday on January 31st. Hey, you know
Oh,
what?
Lindsay.
It's my birthday, February 1st.
And
so-
guys, by the way, the newsletter service that I just started using to hit these people through mail 12 times a year is called Ready to Go. Ready to Go, one word, Ready to Go newsletters. And you can just check them out online. And they'll
Yeah,
be
I
able to
use,
take care of. They take care of everything. You just have to send them your CSV file or the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And they'll take care of the rest.
So the last thing I was just going to end with, which this could be a whole, another 45-minute conversation, but social media, right? Just who you guys are working with as far as your buyers, your sellers, just see where they're at. If they're on Facebook, connect with them on Facebook, become friends. If they're on Instagram, connect with them there, follow each other. It's going to be much easier when you close that deal to be able to take that picture in front of that house and tag your client in that photo. You guys, what you have to stop doing is just putting stuff out on your own social media about that you sold another house and that you got, for $25,000 over the list price, or nobody cares. Nobody cares that you sold another house. The only people that care are your family, and your broker. That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody else cares.
Yeah, posting past sales, literally, all that does is it establishes competency for you as an agent. Again, I'll use the word validate. It validates you as an agent. But you definitely want to have content on your social media that's captivating to the audience that you're going after. So just understand and know who your audience is, and then you could identify how to entertain that audience and captivate them and keep them, keyword, engaged.
Yeah, and you
wanna
just
keep them engaged.
use the model, give, ask. Okay, that's that book by Gary Vee. Here's a plug for Gary Vee. Jab, right hook. You should be giving 3 times more than you're asking. So deliver
or
value.
Just keep giving. And if they're a rational human being, they'll
Exactly.
reciprocate without you even having to ask.
So-
And that's the A+
Listen,
influencer.
yeah, exactly. So that's huge. So just, connect on social, take those photos, make it about the experience, about making it emotional. If you capture that person, in that photo with you in front of the house and you post that, that's going to be worth 1,000 times more than you just posting a photo on your social media. Hey, I just sold another house. Get the people involved in your social media. Tag them in your social media so their whole audience sees the whole thing. Hey guys, we're about 5 minutes over. Thanks for bearing with us today for our first funky setup with
Yeah, sorry
microphones.
about the rough start.
Yes?
I have a question. Do you have a monitor? Do you see your audience?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we see you.
Have a big monitor on the wall?
No, I have a little laptop right in front of me.
So you're not seeing us. Do you see
I see you.
Yeah, we see all of you.
course.
I love you, Jesse.
But definitely tune in next week. We have a
you guys look so fancy?
we're working on this. We're working on this special guest for next week, and then absolutely, it's already been confirmed. Glenn Sanford, CEO of eXp Realty, largest real estate company in the world. They just passed 90,000 agents worldwide.
Wow.
Definitely tune in because eXp is the way of the future, and I'd love for you guys to be armed with lots of maybe some inside information that we didn't know about, maybe some developments that are going on within the company. Who knows what he's going to talk about? We have no idea.
Nope.
And that's all the more reason to tune in and see what this
And
guy's
if you
gotta say.
if you're a guest here for the first time and you like what you hear and see and you want to learn more about what we're doing, then speak to the person that invited you over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen, we try to bring you guys value so that you guys could leverage this as, a training session, education, and again, you're providing value to colleagues of yours that might be at other brokerages and gives you the ability to potentially bring them in, offer them value that they're not exposed to right now currently, and hopefully they'll agree with what you're saying and want to sign on and be part of what we're doing here at the Leaders Edge Network.
All right, guys, we're going to sign off. Thanks so much for
See you
being
guys.
with us, and we'll see you
Great
guys
day.
next week. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.